Okay, so if you guys stayed for the whole part of that, then thank you so much. I've spent so much time on this guide, and I've actually not been able to really train any skills on the game, go for any pets or anything, because I've been focused on how am I going to present invention to these guys? How am I going to show them the best way to get invention up? So if you can see the bottom here, I have Invention as my first tab, Augmenters, Gizmos, Perks, and then Drain Rates. So I have a lot of information here, and I'm going to put it all in the description into a Google document so you guys can look over it and stuff. I'm going to try to make some of them so you can't touch them, just so you can't mess with the actual different calculations and stuff. But yeah, so let's get into this. So when you first start out, you can really only do the tutorial. You can't even do an augmenter. You pretty much have to do the tutorial, and that gets you from level 1 to 4. Then you make 2 gizmos, not gizmos, augmenters, and this is the different stages of what you're gonna go through. Pretty much what I talked about, just in an elaborate version, or not so elaborate a version here, as it was with all the fancy pictures and stuff. And yeah, of course I could make this as a video, but it wouldn't look very pretty, and it wouldn't probably wouldn't appeal to most of you. Most of you probably left already. But anyways, you got the avatar bonus, the refer friend bonus, and the invention increases, which is very interesting. Now these first couple ones are not XP. They're not included into the XP factor because you can't get those certain perks. These are from the different perks that you get, and you don't have access to those perks until different levels. So you get your first perk, first real perk in an efficient way by getting the hand cannons and disassembling them, and that will increase it by 5%. So that's pretty good. But it keeps going, and at level 74 you get the precise perk, which actually should increase it a little bit more. It doesn't actually show it right now. It increases it by 3.75%, so 5.42 plus 3.75, which I could do the calculation in here if I was smart, plus 0.0375, so that will give me a 9.17% bonus, which will help in the experience per hour. And then we have also the Enlightened 3 and the Enlightened combinations for perks, which will give an extra 10%, it looks like 10%, which I will discuss in a little bit when I get to the actual spreadsheet for that. Biting gives another 2%, so you have a total of 21.08% increase of actual it will speed up your leveling of your weapons faster because you're killing the monsters faster, and then the Enlightened perk will give you actual 9% base experience boost on your invention level, your invention weapon level XP. So that will help. That's only for invention, not for killing them faster or anything like that. So down here we have the weapon level, the item XP, the disassembly XP, and then siphoning XP, and the different effects that you can have. This is just some information for you, so you can look at it when you're doing this. I didn't cover that in the actual guide. This is still part of the guide, so yeah, I am including it, but it wasn't included in the the more flashy version of it. We have Water Fiends, Abyssal Demons, and Errats. For Slayer, I just assumed that the weapon XP per hour would be equivalent to how you would be killing Abyssal Demons, because that is a very common task that you would get. But then you have other tasks like Errats, which would get 66,000 weapon XP per hour. So it kind of offsets when you have 33 if you get Water Fiends, and then 66 if you're doing Errats. And the average I would say is around 40. So I kept it with that. That's how I got all of the experience per hour. So now we have this experience factor, which is basically just the same thing as like a bonus factor. I'm just calling it an XP factor now. These are the experience per action, and the action for the only one that's based on ticks is the Augmenter one, and you can do on the next page I show how many you can do actual an hour. But these are all basically, this 108 is a level 5 black salamander. If you disassemble it, you'll get 108,000, and that's just the experience per action. So the action would be you disassembling, and that's the amount of XP. So that's pretty straightforward. Then we have a gear factor, which is basically, are you using a tier 70, a tier 80, a tier 90, and like which tier are you using? And this is the formula that is given on the wiki page for the different tiers. So that is going to be lower, obviously, if you're doing a level tier 70 weapon instead of a tier 80. Everything is based on tier 80, and then if it's tier 90, then it's going to be 15%. Basically, it'll be 15% more, and then this will be 15% or subtract 15%, something like that. This one's actions per hour using the two-handed weapon. So for the black salamanders, of course, the level 5, you're going to be able to make almost 4 of those per hour. But for the other things like crystal halberd, you'll only be able to make, 82% of one action in an hour, and that's based off of the weapon XP that you can get per hour, which is 33,000 when you're doing water fiends. And this is getting it up to level 10. So you have 33 divided by 40 basically, which is 82%. Then you have the this is the noxious, actually, where you're killing well, no, actually that's not the noxious, is it? No, this is where you're killing abyssal demons and slayer. The other one was when you were just doing the first couple of levels, you were doing water fiends. Now you have pretty much one two-handed weapon every single hour, basically. I mean, it's 99%. But you are tier 70, so you have only 85% of what you would be getting normally. And then because armor is 1.5 times slower, that's where this 0.66 comes in, because you got, this divided by 1.5. Basically 2/3 of what you're getting with the two-hander, right? So that's, all of these are basically 2/3 of that, which is, it just made it easier for me to do the calculations. Plus, this whole thing took me, let's see, I worked all day yesterday doing it, and I worked all day today, and it's 7:39 in the morning now. I have not slept, and I'm not sleeping until I'm probably not going to sleep. I'm probably going to stream because I'm not that tired. I'm going to eat some food and, try to get this out there. The last step, all of this stuff is like prefacing, and pretty much the bulk of the work is done. All I got to do is just put this all together and then edit it. Basically edit the parts where I'm stuttering or I'm coughing or whatever that doesn't need to be in there, or if I'm breathing or something, I actually edit the breathing out. But the experience per hour, this one is just the giz off the augmenter, and that's basically just how many actions per hour you can do is 12.65. You can make from scratch to end product for augmenters. You have to disassemble items, and I actually did a lot of research on which items are the best items just to make the augmenters. That probably around half of the amount, because you got to think of, because this is a efficient and realistic guide. Like, this has to cover all bases. So, I don't mind taking the extra work. You know what I'm saying? But this is around 35k XP an hour, making just the augmenters, which isn't really something you should be looking at, because you're not making augmenters to 120. You're just making, a set amount, maybe like 15 or 20 tops. Depends on if you're going for 200 mil or 120, or if you're going for PVM or whatever. You can totally do that too, but that's not part of this video. But level 5 weapons are 424k XP an hour. Level 10 weapons with one armor augment will get you 781,000 XP per hour. Now this one is level 10 weapons with armor augment and leg augment. That's why it's 1.4 million experience per hour. Why is that like double? Because should it be double what that is? Hold on. you get this gear factor because you're doing level 70 augments. Still, you got one two-hander per hour, which is 540k, and then you have two. No, it shouldn't be. Oh, you know what? That's what's going on. 1.2 mil. That seems more realistic. But still, something's up. Unless something was up here. This one multiplied by that, multiplied by that. Interesting. This one, I might have to go back and change that because that's definitely not 1.3 mil an hour now. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, never mind. The reason why it's so much higher is because you're actually changing monsters from water fiends to abyssal demons. So I don't know what I was thinking, but I do need to change this one because I didn't have the 85% multiplier on this other end. So it's not going to be 780k an hour. It'll be 730k an hour. But yeah, so this is with the scavenging, crackling 2 perk, and then also switching to just siphoning with still using the tier 70, looks like. Still using the tier 70, right? And then oh wait, no, this one is not using the, this is using tier 70. This is using Crystal Halberd, but also using the God, this part I just made me so confused. Oh, okay. This one is using all tier 70. This one is using tier 70 Crystal Halberd, but also using Malevolent top and legs. That's why this one is less, because you're siphoning those. So that makes sense. But just the way I have it here is a little confusing. But the next one is all tier 90 siphoning, and yeah, that's with the precise 5 attribute there, which is a little more. And then you have the Enlighten 3 perk. And then this one is when, this one's actually unrealistic unless you're going to, I left this one in here because this is if you're going to Eretz. The way this works is it's all this stuff multiplied, but you have this weird factor for the actions per hour. You have 81% because you're killing so many of that, and you're still siphoning, so your XP per hour really skyrockets to almost double what you had, and that might be, you know, worth going for. But the thing is, overall efficiency, if you're thinking about, you know, going for 120 everything, especially now that Slayer is going to be a 120 skill in the coming years, you're going to want to have that to 120. So basically, you know, as much as I would say, yeah, go for it because it's more XP, this is a realistic guide. This is an efficient and realistic guide. So even though it is less XP, I'd say do it the way I'm saying in the video. But yeah, so this is the cost for, I gotta do this faster. Cost per item, XP per item, GP per XP normally if you're just disassembling stuff, and this is GP per XP during the siphon. This is the time cumulative for the next milestone, and the milestones are over here with the level and stuff, and this is the cost for the next milestone. Total cost with Halberd, total cost with profits from Slayer, 149 mil. Of course, this is going to be, I think, 20% more profit if you're using a Noxious Scythe for all of the time, not talking about level 73 through 80, 74 through 83. Yeah, so this is a Google Doc that I have used from someone else to show the amount of weapon XP per monster killed, and that's how I got these numbers here. I just wanted to give the guy credit, which is pretty cool. And then here I have the 1 through level 120 for the Invention XP. And then here I'm going to actually get rid of this because this is not anything that I use in this video. It's iterations for the smithing. I just basically copy pasted that, and this one was also copy pasted from my other Invention document a long time ago. So yeah, I'm going to definitely post this, and I really don't feel like cleaning this up anymore. I'll clean it up maybe later when I'm feeling better, but this is what you're gonna get. And we're gonna go to the augments now. This one's also a this one took me a long time. Basically what's going on here is you have the items required for one augmenter. This is the amount that you need. This is where you get it from. This is what's going to cost you. And these are based off of the amount and also multiplied by the cost per component that I got from this crap, which is all calculated from actual statistics from the game, not just, hey, I disassembled X amount of item, I got X amount of components, which I did do for the Amulet of Defense. Very small sample. I also did it for the Swamp Titan. Where is it? Swamp Titan here. This is a small sample, and this is the large sample that the wiki has shown. So here you see the wiki percentage, which is 27% for you to get a flexible component every single time you disassemble a Swamp Titan. You also get a 3% chance to get a powerful component, a 30% chance to get a crafted component, and a 40% chance of a spiritual component. And I just added those up just to make sure that was 100%. But the thing is, you also have a thing called a junk chance for each item. For the Swamp Titan, you have a 1% junk chance. Is it a 1% junk chance? I thought it was like a 3% junk chance, but 1% junk chance. And basically, what's going on here is that 27% is not the actual percentage that you're gonna get per item, and that is because of the components per item. Some items have more than one. So if you get 3 components per item, right, you have your original 3 subtracted by the junk chance multiplied by the amount of components, all multiplied by the percentage that you would get. And this is going to give you the actual chance that you're going to get 1 component per item. So for every Swamp Titan that you get, you have an 80% chance of getting 1 flexible component. I know if that doesn't make any sense, I'm sorry, but that's the actual math behind it. It's very misleading to say 27% of the time you're gonna get 1 flexible component. No, it's 27% of the time you're going to get 1 component for every single component that's in the thing. But then you gotta take into account the junk chance that you have. Right? So, anyways, that's how you get that, and it's good because now you can see a nicer number. And the thing is, I came over here and I actually did the math, and it came out more so to this than it did to actually this, because this one doesn't really make sense. You can't really account for a junk chance because this adds up to 100%. So where the hell's my junk chance? You know what I'm saying? So, but anyways, so this is the amount of it will cost per component. And basically you can scroll through each of these. I have the ones that I selected. I basically went through a crap ton of items to make sure, like, to figure out which ones would be good items to dismantle and stuff. But basically the ones that I have bolded, except for the Tortured Souls and the Dragon Bones, you don't need the Pious components. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this border. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get rid of that border, because the thing is, if I tell people the ones with the borders are the ones you got to be doing, then they'll look at that and they'll be like, oh, that I should be doing that. But no, don't be doing that. The stuff that's not bolded, don't worry about. It's just some stuff that I was looking into. So you can kind of see how I progressed through this. Like I went and I checked Royal D hides for a small sample, a couple other ones I did for a small sample, and then I'm like, you know what? I got this calculation down. I can just use the theoretical, and it did it for all of these different items. And then I finally came to the conclusion that an adamant dagger is good for these, even though You can do black daggers, mithril daggers, and a bunch of other things like mithril long swords or regular swords. But the thing is, unless you're an Iron Man, you don't really need to do the other ones. This is the cheapest you're going to get for your components. It's only going to cost you 650 GP per base components. You're really only doing this for the base components for your augments. And the cool thing is, if you make a certain amount of augments, you're gonna go to your gizmos and perks, and you're gonna get free gizmos. You're not gonna have to spend anything for these gizmos. If you make 11 augmenters for 120, you will get almost 40 free armor gizmos and 17 free. Wait, they both said armor gizmos. Sorry, one of these is a weapon gizmo. Sorry. See, just like you leave one thing out, and it's chaotic. So you have free weapon gizmos here and free armor gizmos up here, which should be enough if you're just siphoning. It should be enough for you to get all of the things. So basically, just like this thing, I'm looking at the time, it's like wicked long. I really don't want people to not click on my video because I think I might just separate them. I think I'm just going to do 2 separate videos. I am going to do 2 separate videos because the thing is, it's going to be a very long video because this is a very, very intense, calculation for all this stuff. It took me a very long time. And this is just a game. You know what I mean? It's just like, whoa, dude, this guy's a nerd. He needs to get a life. Anyway, so so these are the items required. The amount that you need of the item, this is what you get it from. And then the cost is based off of the amount multiplied by this cell, which is in the Augmenter tab. I really hope that this goes through Google Documents completely fine. Otherwise, it's going to be a very bad mess up, and it's not going to show correct costs and gizmos and stuff. So anyways, you don't really need to think about those, which is awesome. The way that I present this to you, you don't have to think about gizmos at all. You just need to think about the ones that you need to make. You might need to make a couple extra for if you want to get perks and stuff, but other than that, you should be pretty solid. This is just the amount of armor that, the amount of gizmos that you're limited to. I didn't really talk about that in the video. I just told you what to do. Most people don't really need to know the reasoning behind things. They just need someone to lead them. I guess it kind of sounds weird, but it is kind of how it is. But this is a little messed up. I'll have to fix that later. But step 1, each item needs to... You can read through this. I don't really need to explain it. It has all of the explanations and stuff in writing. I wrote that down. But this is the name of the different perks that you're going to have, or that I think you should have. The overall DPS increase of each one. Actually, this one does not increase your DPS, but... That's a little misleading. It doesn't increase your DPS, but it does increase your Invention XP increase, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to leave it there. But Invention increase, you can notice that this is not exactly the same as the other one. It's a percentage of it because you got to deal with the bleeds and stuff, and I explain that over there. Actually, I explain it over there, so I don't need to explain it in the video. Level needed, these are the different levels you need for the different perks. This one being level 1 if you're using direct components, and level 99 if you're using noxious components. The cost per item is going to be here. These are, this is the noxious staff, I think. Hand cannon with gems, armadillo, any component really will get you that. And a Barris weapon, crystal halberd, longswords, gems. These are the different items that you would use to get these different components in here. So I've also laid that out for you. This is all the name again, but more in depth. This is Crackling 2, Scavenging 2, Genocidal Enlightened 2, Demon Slayer Enlightened 2. These are the ones that you do want to get. These are the components that you would need to get it. The chance that you would need to get it. I'm not going to confirm any of the ones that are not 100%. These are just numbers that I threw out there, and I was not going to actually test this because that would take me maybe a lot of money and a lot of time that I don't want to spend. So you can forgive me for that, but I did use a 50% base chance for these ones, and this will be the price. This is the total cost for the perks, and this is the gizmos required. So you can see there's not, the amount of gizmos is not really that much. And then I put all the wiki links that I used, or most of them that I could think of to put them there. I mean, most of them are like Bando's chestplate. You don't need me to cite a Bando's chestplate, even though there's no Bando's chestplate in here now, so I should probably take that one out. But most of the other stuff, I link it on the wiki or any other links that I have on the bottom. Here's the drain rates. I totally stole this from someone, but I am giving him credit. This is his Google Doc, and credit to this person. I don't know who it is, but it helped me out because otherwise I would have had to do this all myself, and I did not want to do that. But this is just to get the cost. I didn't actually use the bottom one. He like literally input the data every single cell. He just put in the number, which I think is ridiculous. But these are also, I guess when I put it over, it doesn't do the calculation, unfortunately. And I'm not going to do the calculation, but these are the numbers, and this is his document, his Google document, so you can go to his if you want, but I referenced this in my normal invention for GP per XP. As you can see, drain rates, cell I3 multiplied by 3600, which is the amount of ticks in an hour, amount of seconds in an hour, and this drain rate is per second, so you multiply by that to get the hour, divide by 3000. Why did I divide by 3,000? I don't know. I don't want to figure out why I did that. If I need to change it, I will change it. I don't know if I need to change it, but yeah. So that is the spreadsheet, and that is Invention 10 months after. This is the stuff that this is not the way I did it. Just so you know, this is not the way I did it. If I did it like this, I would not have spent 19 billion GP. I would have made 149 GP, 149 million GP. These are the notable levels that just helped me to tell you guys the guide. Anyways, so I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, please like the video. I would very much appreciate it if you liked the video. I don't normally ask for likes, but thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.